In this video, I'm going to show you how to remove and replace a rear ABS sensor on a RAV4 located in the rear fender well. To remove the negative cable, you need a 10mm wrench or socket. I prefer a wrench, and you're going to back that nut right off that stud. Take that right off. You don't have to take it all the way, just enough to loosen it. You'll see that wobble. Lift it up and always secure it somewhere where it won't go back up and ground itself out. Remove the carpet from the rear, set it aside. Then you can remove the cargo cover, set it aside. With a trim tool, we're going to remove these two plastic clips, pop them up. You can also use a flathead screwdriver. There we go. Once those two clips are removed, you're going to lift it a little bit, put your hand underneath, grab firmly and pull up. Pull that out. So now with an 8mm socket or a Phillips screwdriver, you're going to take this last cover and you're going to pull up, and there's 4 of these. 1, 2 on each side. 2 more over on the passenger side. Now grab firmly and pull it up. Once you broke that free, you can pull this and pull it completely out. So now with my trim tools, just a little bit easier access, I'm going to go in here and push that little clip out. Now I can see the actual clip that I need to push down on, that tab right there. I'm going to push down and pull that out. Now we can go into the fender well and pull the rest of the ABS sensor. 21mm socket, and we are going to remove the tire. Now we can pull the tire off. 10mm socket, and I sprayed my 2 little mounting nuts on the brackets here for this harness because I don't want them to break. Here we go. Pull that out. One more down here, 10mm socket. Now I have a 10mm or 6mm bolt with a 10mm head on it. I'm going to take a socket, take that mount out. I'm just going to put my bolt back in so I don't misplace it. Now we're going to take this boot out. Just give it a all-around pull, and we already disconnected it from the top, so pull that right out. Now if you follow that harness right down, in the back of this forward control arm, you'll see that there is a mount right here. There it is right there, 10mm socket. And we're going to take this nut off. Now the last mounting bolt is this bolt going into the knuckle, 10mm socket. And I'm going to extract that. Set it aside. See if we can give this a wiggle. If not, we'll get a pair of pliers. We'll try to pull that sensor right out. Now with a pair of pliers, I'm just going to grab this and give it a twist back and forth. See if I can spin it out that way. And there it is. Now noting the travel and the way it's mounted, I'm going to pull this whole system out. Take your new ABS, feed it through that hole. And you see that tab right there, so you're going to line it up. That can go in first. Just follow it around and push it in until it seats. You can use a flathead screwdriver if you need to help you along. Just like that. Make sure it's sealed. Now we can attach that bracket. That's a 10mm socket. There's no torque, it's just tighten it up. So I take the old ABS and I'm going to take the nuts off on the brackets that I put them on so I can transfer them over, and then I can discard this sensor. Now I'm going to line up the bracket the way it was on this upper control arm. And there's a little mounting point, see it right here? So you go through the first hole and that pin will go right through, see it? And you can put that one nut on. You're going to follow the control arm down. Do the same to this one. Put that nut on. Now I'm going to tighten those up, 10mm socket. There's no torque for this, it's just a bracket, so once it's bottomed out, a little quarter of a turn, move on to the next one. Making sure that that bracket is lined up in that lock hole. So now we're going to take that ABS sensor and I'm going to feed it through the way it came out, which is this knuckle right in between that little open space. And you'll see how it's got the stud and that cutout. That's going to go just like that in that spot. And on the other side is where you put that 6mm nut, which is a 10mm socket. Start it by hand. And then I'm going to follow the sensor right down into that knuckle, feed it through, take the bolt, start it by hand. Let's get my ratchet and we're going to tighten up this mount first. Now with the 10mm socket, I'm going to tighten up this nut. Okay, once it's tight, give it a nice quarter turn. Now that mounting bolt, I'm just going to snug it up because it does have a torquing specs to it. I want to make sure that that's seated right and not at an angle. So that 10mm socket, and we're going to torque that to 75 inch-pounds. So now we're going to reinstall our wheel and start your lug nuts. And now we'll take our 21mm socket. We're not going to really refund them, we're just going to bottom it out because we're going to torque it to the factory specs. That one right there, the threads are stretched a little bit. That's from over tightening. We'll torque our wheels. That's with the 21mm socket, and the wheel torque is 76 foot-pounds. I'm going to do it in a crisscross or star pattern. Double check. So now we're back in the back of the car, and we can grab that new ABS sensor. That's the connector right there. And there's the car harness side. So we want to line it up. I think the tab goes on the top. Let it click in. Find the spot where this mounts. Push that in. Now we're ready to put this back together. So it's very common whenever doing body trim that these tabs come out, and you're just going to take your tool and pop them up. And we'll replace them on that. So now I have the actual body piece that goes back in, and these are the tabs that came undone. Just line them up and push them on. Now we can go ahead and bring it in. Let it fall into place. I'm going to take the mounting bolts out on both sides. Push down. Seemed like it fell right into place. So there's 4 of these, 2 on both sides. One goes there. Start them by hand. Open up the lid. The other one goes there. I'll put the other 2 on. And I'll grab my 8mm socket and we'll tighten that up. Driver's side. Here's the compartment that has the jack equipment. Line that up with the tabs, push it down. We have 2 push pins in back here. Now we're ready to put the hard cover back. Always make sure that tab is up. And let's install the carpet. When reinstalling the negative cable, make sure there's no grease, and if you have a wire brush, please clean the terminal ends. Now do not leave it like that. Make sure you bring it all the way to the bottom of that lead terminal post. Now with your 10mm, you're going to tighten it up. Now my little secret is I always hold my hand on the end here so that when I snug it, I don't put pressure on that terminal stud. That way the lead doesn't break off inside the battery. Make sure it's tight, good to go. When only the best will do, demand TRQ. The only company that lets you view before you do. TRQ is committed to offering the highest quality aftermarket auto parts that are engineered for peace of mind. Thanks for using and viewing with TRQ.